I am Jeffrey Villadwin, and today we'll be discussing the range of firearms. Now, muskets had a range of about 250 meters, and players very often complain that this is too long, or at least some players complain. And vanilla has slightly shorter ranges. These are not realistic. Some people think that's better. I'll show you why it is not better to have short ranges for firearms. So I'm going to do a custom battle. I'll be commanding Venice and fighting Genoa. Both sides have similar armies. Venice has 12,000 florins. Genoa has 14,000 florins, so a little bit more money. And we can start the battle. So here is my army, the Venetian army. And on this side we have the cavalry. There are some arquebusiers and some lancers. Then we have some firearm units backed up by a pike unit. Then a rebolt, then another tertio, then a monster rebolt battery, then another tertio, then a rebolt battery, and then more firearm units backed up by a unit of pikemen. And on the right, more cavalry, lancers, and arquebusiers. In the distance, you see now the AI army, the Genoese army. And as I said, it's a very similar army. They have slightly better cavalry, in fact. Otherwise, it's the same. And unfortunately, they are deployed in a medieval formation, and a very compact medieval formation as such. So we have a row of heavily armored arquebusiers or handgunners at the front, followed by lighter arquebusiers behind them. And there are 4 units of its kind, so they are sort of bunched up one behind the other. That's not very good. You'll see the problem in a little bit when the battle starts. Now behind the pikemen come the enemy rebolts. That's also not a great idea. The formation at the moment looks very glorious. So here are the rebolts. They also have short range. So everything is short range just to demonstrate what's going on. So for now, our enemy is advancing in good order, and now the enemy firearm units, they're running forward. They have come under attack from our rebolts. Now, musketeers and arquebusiers would have much longer ranges. Musketeers about 150 to 300. They've been murdered here. Arquebusiers about 200. So they should be able to fire back. They should have a similar range as rebolts. But here they have a short range. So what they're doing is they're skirmishing forward. They're being murdered in the meantime. Now these guys have opened fire, but nobody else is firing. The problem is that very often they have friendly units in front of them. Yeah, so these guys have been routed, otherwise they'll be in front of them. And now I think there are 2 units of arquebusiers here bunched together. And here an enemy mounted pistoliers here have come very close to our line. They are being executed. They decided to go back home. And back to the main line. So you see now here we have some, let's call them handgunners. They're still arquebusiers, more heavily armored. They're at the front. Some of them are firing, but the guys behind them are not firing. And they're not firing because they have these other guys in front of them. And because the ranges are so short, they all kind of got bunched up and very close to each other. And so now these guys are not firing because they have this heavier unit in front of them, and they don't want to shoot their own friends. And it could be here there are two of these heavier firearm units bunched together, so they are also not very effective. And they have been murdered by the rebels. The guys behind have been murdered and they are not even shooting back. 2 or 3 guys shot back. And now the pikemen are going to get in the way, so that's even worse, because now the range is so short, the pikemen are in front of them, they will not be able to shoot at all while the pikemen are in front of them. Whereas if they had a longer range, they'll be shooting from a distance, because these guys are somewhat on a hill at a different level, so they could also fire angle shots from a distance. From such a short range, they cannot fire angle shots. So these guys are not shooting, and now they have the pikemen in front of them. This is a total mess. It does not work, believe me. We've play tested this like 100 times. It's not working with such short ranges. You'll see what the result is going to be in the end. So here an enemy general charges the tertio, everybody gets murdered. So the pikemen are now in front of the arquebusiers, and the arquebusiers are now shooting. The pikemen are getting murdered by our own units.
Our foolish general has thrown his life away, and perhaps our chances of victory with it.
Yeah, our general has been slain by a random shot. Look at him. He's the only dead in his unit. Very annoying. Never mind. And so the enemy is more or less in disarray now. They are running for their lives, they're retreating.
It is unwise to praise the day before sunset, but the enemy general has no honor. He flees the field. The Lord above is kind. We have captured the enemy's general. That will teach the cowardly dog to run. Now he can rest at our leisure. The enemy flees the battle! Run down those worthless peasants!
So the enemy general has been slain, the enemy is completely broken, they are running for their lives. So that's the end, more or less, of this battle. There are a couple more small units around. So you saw how this battle went. I'm going to do one more battle with more enemy units. So I'm going to make it even harder. So I'm going to have 2 enemy armies attacking me.
This is a clear victory that goes to only men of great virtue and valor.
So that's a clear victory. I lost 76 men. The enemy lost 1,365 or something. So the musketeers killed a lot of units, the cavalry took a lot of prisoners, and the rebels did very well as well. So that's not a bad result. That's about 20 to 1 in terms of casualties. Not too bad. So as I said, I'm going to make it a little bit harder. So the enemy now has 28,000 florins, I have 12,000 florins. So the enemy is 2.5 times as strong as I am, almost. Well, more than twice as strong. You see that? The battle balance, battle balance at the beginning, and I have arranged the army in a similar way. We're all spread out, the enemy is coming from 2 sides. And I have decided that our army is too far forward and might be flanked, and so I'm going to withdraw the army higher up the hill so that the enemy comes closer to the center. The arrangement is as before. We have arranged our men in tertios, but we've kept the tertios on the same line, all of them. Probably doesn't make a huge difference. And there's cavalry on the flanks. So the tertiaries are not staggered, they are kind of on the same line. So the enemy is attacking now. I have the arquebusiers here, firing at their sides. There's some cavalry on this side, and already some of their units have been routed. Some of their pistoliers, their reiters are coming forward. Here's their pikemen, and they're bringing their rebolts forward. Rebolts are firing into their men, shooting their own men because of the short ranges, especially the units that are being routed. Look at this mess. This is a total mess. Look at all these units are in the way of each other. They are skirmishing somehow through each other, and nobody can fire because they'll be firing into their own men. So the enemy captain has been slain by some random shot. And the units that come very close in order to fire at us and get in front of the others. So because they are behind some other units or whatever, they come too close and they get routed, and they run in front of their friends, so their friends cannot fire, so they skirmish forward, then they'll get routed. It's crazy. I mean, just the AI doesn't know what to do with such short ranges. First of all, the AI was not made for pike and shot battles. It was not made for arquebuses and muskets and so on. And then you have all these units running in front of each other. If you make the ranges so short, it's like, yeah, you're wasting the AI's time, basically. It's like cheating, frankly. So here we've charged the rebolts. The rebolts had been firing at our cavalry, so...
It is unwise to praise the day before sunset, but our men are winning the battle and forging a worthy victory.
So some of their men here are routed. Only their captains have survived from these two companies. Two captains running for their lives. So the battle is over, the enemy has been mauled, we are taking prisoners. And so this is back to our line. You see we hardly lost any men. Our tertiaries are solid. This was not a battle, this was an execution.
By the Lord above, our foe has been much humbled. Let all who remember this day remember it as the day of our most glorious victory.
Okay, so here's the result. We fought two armies, lost 189 men, destroyed both our enemy armies. Compare this battle with the battles from 1648, for example, the 1648 mod, or play a battle in the 1648 mod and see how well the AI does compared to this. I'm going to do a couple more of these because you may think this is just stainless steel, and it's not just stainless steel. So, 189 losses. We did very well with our cavalry, took many prisoners. Our musketeers did also very well as the various rebolts. Thank you for watching.